Pain is temporary. Glory is forever. It's Ultimate Combat Radio, only on 1280 and 97.5. The Zone.
Jagger.
Welcome back to Ultimate Combat Radio. Mike Stidham here, talking a little mixed martial arts in the studios of 1280 The Zone. This segment is brought to you by Tim Goodwin Chiropractic, located next door to the Treehouse at 12300 South in Draper. Our poll question this week was kind of an interesting one. What are you thankful for? It's Thanksgiving Day weekend, and we kind of covered what I was thankful for. We covered what Brandon Kaiser was thankful for. We kind of skipped over what was on his wish list, and so I want to kind of go back and readdress that. Brandon, what's on your wish list? What would you like to see happen in MMA?
I only have two things. Number one, I want to see Josh Barnett in the UFC.
Oh man,
I think he'll get the belt and have it for a long time. And number two, I do want to see the GSP Silva fight happen. I can't see how that's bad for GSP. Even if he loses, it's like I don't want to watch him just continue to beat up guys.
You talking about Wanderlei Silva? What Silva are you talking about? You talking about
Anderson Silva?
Anderson Silva
Yep.
and GSP. Why is that on your wish list? Because I think that's a bad fight for GSP. I don't think it's compelling. It's just too small. And, don't get me wrong, I'm a GSP guy, but to me, these two are the greatest at where they're at. Stay where you're at and be the greatest.
Oh, they've been doing that for so long, and they've completely wiped out the divisions, and I just think it's a no-lose for GSP. If he goes up a weight class, he really says, you know what, and wins. He says, I'm the best there's ever been. I've beat everyone they've put in front of me. I even went up a weight class. I fought the other unbeatable guy, and I beat him.
Yeah, but part of what makes him great is how lean he is and how athletic he is, and I don't think he carries that up 15 pounds.
I agree that he's fighting an uphill battle, but I think if he takes that risk and he loses,
it's nothing lost, right?
Yeah, it's nothing lost.
I'll tell you a big reason I'm not interested in that fight is those two guys don't want it.
Right.
Neither one of those guys.
Yeah, if there was some hate or animosity between the two, then
that's a good point.
Maybe. But it's going to be one of those the media week before where they're just saying nice things about each other, and they're going to go on.
All right, just bring Josh Barnett to the UFC. Fine.
I'm all for that one, buddy. I want to see
everybody
that
wants it. Those two guys don't care. Silva sometimes can fight at 205, so he's not coming down to 170.
Right, yeah,
GSP said he would take a year off to gain the 15, 20 pounds of muscle, and then you've got he can't defend his strap at 170 for a whole year. So,
well, this is the first time that I've actually been convinced to otherwise with Brandon. Usually he sways me toward his line of thinking. So
yeah, well, you got me on this one.
Glad to have this, so that's awesome to have. So now, Bart, what about you? What are you thankful for in mixed martial arts?
I could make a big long list of what I'm thankful for around MMA, but I'll keep it short so we can get to our UFC plug. But if I had to think one thing, what separates our sport from everywhere else is you can walk into a gym today in almost any city and be immediately exposed to world-class trainers and world-class athletes.
Good point.
If you're into football, basketball, soccer, anything else, you don't get to go sign up at the NFL and train with the pros.
That's
or
a good point.
Wow, I like that.
That is good.
If you can walk into AKA, you can walk into Mushin, and you can train with UFC caliber fighters and UFC caliber trainers.
Right. Cool. Very good stuff.
So that's the top.
What's
of my
on your
list.
wish list, man?
Wish list. Well, first of all, I'd definitely second Josh Barnett in the UFC. I'm a huge babyface assassin fan. And then I want to see Dos Santos hold the belt for a little while.
I think he will. We talked about before that fight. There was so much parity that we talked about in the heavyweight division, and the UFC at least thought that there was one guy could beat the next on any given week. Well, I think he really set the standard. He really showed how much better he is than Cain Velasquez, and really he looked good, in my opinion.
He looked great.
Yeah,
he walked out and checked a couple kicks, threw a huge uppercut, and got a paycheck and went home.
That's exactly what happened. Let's talk about the UFC. What's going on?
Well, that's some of the biggest news out is UFC going to network and Dos Santos fighting on Fox. And it would have been nice to go over that show in advance and talk about what this means for the sport. But it's almost overshadowed by UFC 139 that was just on last weekend.
Let's kind of just back up a minute, because with the benefit of hindsight, how big was that Fox show? And in many ways, people feel like it was kind of a debacle it turned out to be. It wasn't what they had hoped it was going to be. But, you mentioned out the air, they're not even supposed to start the Fox deal until 2012. That was just kind of a teaser, if you will. Did that kill him, or did that? What do you think that happened?
Well, I think the fact that they're on network now says huge things, but
Yeah.
I think the fact that they just did one fight and it was so short and people didn't get what they really wanted doesn't mean a thing.
Good stuff. All right, let's go to 139. We got just a few minutes here.
Well, if you guys didn't see it, you had 3 former champs squaring off.
In the same fight?
No. Actually, 6 former title holders
Awesome.
in the top 3 fights. You had Uriah Faber, who tore apart Brian Bowles.
Did he convincingly beat him? I didn't see that fight.
He destroyed him. Yeah, he owned him.
Yeah, I forgot when we were making our predictions that was happening in his hometown. So I should have kind of figured Uriah at home would do very well.
Yeah, he did really well. He looks like he's finally come into himself
Good,
at 135. And it looks like he's got another rematch, a rubber match with Dominic Cruz for the belt now.
That'll be a fun fight. But, I think Uriah, man, if he's on that tear, when he's on, he's on.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He's been top-notch at 155, 145, and 135. Right. Well, we're getting low on time here, so we may finish on 139. But if you didn't get to see Kung Lee fight Vanderlei Silva, that was a scrap too, and I picked Kung Lee to win that fight.
I did too. I thought Kung Lee would win that fight. He didn't look. As we mentioned, he looked a little maybe overweight, or just didn't look like the old Kung Lee to me.
No, he looked bad. I don't know. Too many movie roles between fights.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he got his face broken.
Oh man, his nose is definitely broken in a couple of places.
Yeah, and you'd think his nose would be tough to break.
All right, well, the main event, though, it delivered.
The main event was huge. A lot of people are saying fight of the year, kind of controversial decision as far as I'm concerned. I don't care who they say who won.
Yeah.
We all win in a fight like that.
And then Dan Henderson's going to be matched up with John Jones, which is one on my wish list as well. So that was awesome, and it was great. So, Bart, thanks for joining us, man. We got to cut out of here, man. We're going to get you back on the program soon, I hope.
Thanks, guys.
I want to thank everybody for joining us on the program. Thank Aztec Highway for bringing it. The Ultimate Combat Radio. We'll see you next week.